Nick, are you kicking around back there?
I'm kicking around.
Oh, he was hiding.
You're so
Nick, you've been
quiet,
hiding in the
Nick.
background the whole time here? You
I,
didn't want
I
to say
wasn't
hi?
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to say
You can
anything.
come and say hi to us anytime, Nick. You just jump right in there. No problem.
So,
Hola.
How's
Nick,
it going?
It's going pretty good. Pretty good. Cannot complain here. How about you folks?
we're doing good here in the Motor City. Tigers are undefeated so far in the season, so we're happy
Although I
about.
was worried when Nathan came in.
But Nick, what do you? I know you like to characterize different moves, and was this just a relief rally yesterday that interest rates might not be going up? I mean, what a move!
Yeah.
What happened yesterday? Could you give us your spin on it?
I think that the bad news came out on Friday, and we had the weekend to cogitate over it, and the pre-open was just a fake out. And it was very similar to the Friday reaction. And it was fantastic reversal. But I think it's misplaced faith that the Fed will not act this year. They're going to act, and from Yellen's last statement, I think that they had made up their mind that it's going to be this year, and I think she even said something along the lines of, even if the data doesn't warrant it, meaning the CPI doesn't reach her target, she's still going to raise the rates. So it may be misplaced faith, and now there's a change in the last couple of closes with the small caps. They had bled. They had been leading, and now they're not. A couple of days they've been lagging. Kind of like they have been threatening to break out, but the broader indices have not joined the fight. And now that the broader indices want to join the fight on the backs of Apple and the likes, the small caps are no longer leading. So I'm interested to watch that dynamic.
So how you playing it here? You, I know if you're gonna do some shorts, you like to go way far out there. You gonna let
Yep.
it simmer for a couple days, or you starting to get out there?
Well, I'm playing the indices because earnings are coming up. Can you believe it? I mean, we just got out of earnings, and it seems like it, and now we're back into expecting earnings again. So it's easier to play the indices during the earnings because I do credit spreads, and headlines and credit spreads don't mix very well. So it's easier to do the indices. So what I did is I've been short via 5% buffer zone from current prices via credit call spreads for a long time, and then when markets started retracing, I added some longs via credit put spreads, which are now almost 100% cashed out, and I cashed out a lot of the shorts. So it was a kind of an iron condor that was set in first credit call spreads, and then when markets retrace, credit put spreads to make it an iron condor to add to the potential income. And luckily, everything worked out. So I'm still more short than long. And on every pop like yesterday, I add a few shorts, and I choose to do them through the indices because I don't want to worry about headlines blowing me out, like a Tesla move yesterday, for example. So just cautious credit call spreads. You know me. Boring is beautiful in my world, and every once in a while, if I don't have a lot of drama, I throw something with potential drama, just because I'd like to stay awake, but nothing serious.
I know you like the boring, but you also like trading Priceline too, which is often the opposite of boring. And this stock yesterday got initiated with coverage from Argus with a buy rating and a 1480 price target. That seems a little bit crazy, that price target, but it did take off. Gave you a shot actually yesterday and actually opened down on the day, but then the buyers came in and they bought this up 40 points. So interesting that you like boring, but you like trading Priceline.
I do like trading Priceline. I don't think they're the first ones that come out of 14. Last week or 2 weeks ago, somebody else came out with a 1400, but I think last night somebody also came out with a downgrade or a lower of the price target. So it's like a push-pull relationship there, and this morning they're looking at 1180, 89 or something like that. But it is a volatile stock, and I trade it really cautiously. And whenever I feel like everybody is over exuberant one way or another, like if they're overly bullish on it, I try to short it via almost shorting leaps calls. Very cautiously so, leaving a lot of room. And when people hate on it too much, it's a great company. There's no reason to hate on it specifically unless the whole market is in danger. Then I go along it through puts, selling puts. So I do it very cautiously. I did not act yet. I'm waiting for a couple of penguins to join and they upgrades maybe. If not, then maybe I'll test it out. But definitely not during earnings season. if anything, during earnings season, I look at where the market wants to take it through the earnings, and they should deliver a good earnings. What worries me through the whole earnings season, folks, is the fact that everybody's going to be bearish, and if they have flush accounts that have been carrying some negative stuff and they have the chance to throw it out under the PDX, oh, we got hit by the dollar, they're going to do it. So I can't imagine anybody going out, many people, many companies going out and saying, oh, things are so rosy down the line, even with a strong dollar, even with this, even with that. They're going to be somewhat cautious, and I don't think the markets are going to like that too much.
There was some interesting moves in some individual stocks here yesterday too, and it started really like I was saying with the utilities yesterday, but then they started buying everything and across the board, and they were even buying some dogs. And 3D Systems is a stock that has been in the doghouse, I feel like forever. But yesterday it did catch a bit after slowly winding up there for 3-4 days, had really muted trading action. Yesterday they just came in buying it, and they bought it up a dollar there. What's your thoughts on Triple D, DDD?
Somebody asked me about it yesterday, so I did look at it. It looks like it wants to be. I mean, it's a hideous chart if you look at the 2-year trend, right? Yeah. But now I don't know much about them fundamentally, but I know that the technology is viable, and there are some big names in there like HP. I think they were heralded that they were going to lead this up, but I haven't heard anything there. But technically speaking, it looks like it's peaking its head. Yesterday's scandal was breaking some downtrends, but it does have this level to conquer, and 30 has been failure, 30 to 32.5 for months now. So they need to bust out of it, and they have a lot of potential upside. Obviously, there were some trends that will point to 32.5 as the first place to look at, and if they break out of there, then I can see it shooting for 37.5, then 42.5. So there's a definite upside. So if anybody wants to be, playing the upside potential there, I don't blame them. What's the downside risk? Fundamentally, I don't know. Do they have another shoe to drop? If they don't, then this looks good on the upside.
Nick, question out of the chat coming from Chubby. Do you think that the CTRP upgrade is going to be another catalyst for Priceline today?
They trade in sympathy sometimes, and C-Trip, it's I don't know if it's big enough to move Priceline. I think Priceline moves on its own and moves with the market, and it moves fast and faster than anything that I've seen in a lot of the stocks. So it may sympathy move with it, but eventually it will have to trade on its own, and it does trade on its own. So the Priceline trade stands on Priceline alone, in my opinion. But it is the same realm, and it will move in sympathy one way or another. So, but I'm very leery of everybody being on the same trade. Like, investing is not this easy. I wish it were. Like yesterday, I must have gotten messages from at least 10 people, no joke, personally, about one move or another. So it's like everybody's on the same. I forget what the stock was. Oh, it looks like it's breaking out. Well, it's easy. Everybody buy this stock because it looks like it's breaking out. Even on Twitter, now the ticker escapes me. But anyway, the point is, too many people think the same way. Is this idea already out and been monetized? And if I move on it, am I buying somebody else's profit? That's always in my head. That's the worst thing that can happen to me. I can't stand buying somebody else's profits. So
Good point,
sometimes
Nick.
I'm man enough to admit that I missed it, and I'll catch the next one.
Interesting area here, Chubby. I would just keep. I mean, I do see this trade up at 11.99 here on a whopping 175 shares. You hit a high at 94.46 yesterday. You have another high at 94.49. Then another double top right at the 94.55 area. So that's big. I think you can hold above there. I think you got a chance to sprint over 1,200. But keep it a close eye, especially on the close above 11.95. You mentioned Tesla at the top, and boy, I tell you, it's amazing. You get the tweets last week from Elon Musk, and as the stock was just on the verge of a major technical breakdown, and you got a boost from it, and then he comes out. Yesterday, you do get some fundamental news on it that they're looking for a 55% increase for the next quarter. I don't know what that exactly means. If they're going to, instead of selling 10 cars, they're going to sell 16. But anyways, what do you think about this over 200? We did rally and settle fall back on the close. Any thoughts on Tesla?
I just threw a chart in your chat there. I don't know if you guys can pick it up. But anyway, Tesla's move yesterday was one move that at least was based on fundamentals. They're selling more cars as opposed to him saying something on a tweet. But it did come out of nowhere and at exactly the right time when the stock price needed it. I think he's doing a disfavor to his stock owners by whipsawing the stock with his words this way and that way. People sell calls against their stock. They get blown out in moves like this. So even though they were bullish the stock, now they're blown out because they're forced to sell away from it. But I thought it was interesting that it lost that green trend. I just posted on there. I took a few puts in it yesterday for May expiration. Nothing too fantastic. Just I wanted to see how much convicted they are in buying this stock up. It has set lower highs, knocking on the floorboard, like you said. It definitely needed a bounce at 180, 185, and it sure got it. So now what? It's good news that they're going to be selling more cars, and at least it's a fundamental reason to run. But I need more from them. I need to show me the fact that it is a viable electric car. First of all, I'm not even convinced that electric cars are the future. I hope they're not. I don't enjoy driving them. But if indeed they are, I don't think they're going to be the leader in that realm. I think the big guys are going to come in and just squash them with regards to volumes. It is a cool car. They're going to have a niche market. But I don't think you can price it as a car company that's going to be a giant car company unless they change and add more models. If I tell you I bought a Tesla, you know exactly what car I'm driving. They have only one model. So current. So they need to expand that to be a legitimate car company. And as an electric car company, I think they're a cool car company that just happens to be electric.
What happens if like Ford and GM really start to, and we're starting to see, we've got the hybrids there and they're starting to get some, what if they go full electric? What happens to Tesla?
Right, and BMW and Mercedes and
because
Fiat.
the technology has got to be, available for all of them.
I live in Southern California, and the car market in Southern California is massive. And you see all kinds of cars. I mean, you see expensive cars all over the place. It's not unusual. I see more Leafs than Teslas here. The Nissan Leaf. I see more Volts than Tesla. There's the Chevy Volts, which are, I think, the best solution to cars right now. The Volts are serial hybrids, which means it always runs on electric power, and it does have a motor to charge its battery whenever it needs it, as opposed to the hybrids that are run sometimes on the motor, sometimes on the battery. But GM doesn't do a good job marketing that fact. So, but anyway, I just don't think that Tesla is the solution for cars. I don't think they're innovative. They just built a car that looks cool, it costs a ton of money, and it just happens to be electric.
Wouldn't be a day if we didn't ask you about Apple here, Nick. And we know you always got some great thoughts here on Apple. It did have a huge day there yesterday, bouncing nicely just below the 125. And like we said, the buy the dippers came in and everything, and they came in as Apple as well. Bought it up over $3 from the low of the day. And then now Apple's trading up another 70 cents here in the pre-market. What are your thoughts here on Apple?
Apple, somebody poked the bear, I guess. It is, I wouldn't short it, let's put it this way. And because people now are expecting financial engineering, I just posted a chart. Yesterday's scandal did break a lower high trend. So let's see where it goes from here. This morning, I think it's pushing the indices up with its what is it looking at? 128 and change pre-open. Yeah. And so it's going to help the ES, NASDAQ, and the Dow, I guess now. But I'm looking at the small caps. They're lagging. The small caps are a little bit red or flattish as opposed to the up in the. So yes, it can prop up the markets, and in bad times it will be looked at as potentially safe haven. But technically, this week it has resistance starting at 126. And when I say 126, it's already at 128, so it might be downside pressure. However, I don't short it. I don't use that for credit call spreads this week. Because I've seen it run against that many times before. So earnings should be good. Even the watch release, I think, should be good. They're probably going to sell out in minutes. and just because people want to own the first one out, and there's no fundamental reason for me to short the best company on the planet. Let's put it this way. There are easier lame ducks out there. Like I thought Amazon and Netflix were wounded gazelles into this week, and yesterday they all get popped on the sympathy move with I think Priceline was upgraded and Tesla with a surprise number. So the momentum stocks moved yesterday on the backs of these two stocks mostly. And Netflix and Amazon were the beneficiaries of that otherwise because they have big voids below. Anything that goes wrong with these two stock prices, they would have caught a big whoosh down because of the voids below.
Nick? And I also want to get your thoughts on Google here. I am a shareholder in Google, for full disclosure, and I've watched the stock fall in the last 8 days, 20 or 40 points here now. It did bounce back yesterday, not as much as Apple did, but it did bounce back a decent amount from the lows, bouncing almost 10 points. They're trading up slightly in the pre-market. What are your technical thoughts here on Google?
Open interest shows resistance. I don't think it's going anywhere without a headline. I know last week people were expecting some financial engineering headline now that they have a CFO. I don't know how realistic that is. And also some other headlines, I forgot what they were. But technically speaking, from the open interest, it has resistance and it starts right here. So if I look at Google, 540 is going to be hard to break this week on the Goog, not the Goog L. Anything higher than that is also resistive and builds in strength. 540 is the strongest resistance that I see, and then it builds from 542 to 550 and even higher some more. There might be something sticky to 530 to 535. So either downside pressure and or support. So the 530 to 535 is where it's probably going to easiest meander this week. Some small support at 525, but nothing else. So it's easier short than long.
Nick, before we let you go, just want to get your thoughts on GoPro here. Man, oh man, this thing is killing me. I know I got all the way out to July. Full disclosure, I have some calls in this thing. Is this thing finally going to break out above 44 here? Or is it just going to go back and flop down to like 40 and a half, 41?
You know, it's one of those breakouts that went sideways, right? A few days ago, I'm going to say, let's see here, 317, 318. It broke out of a lower high trend that it's set for months now since the high. Lower high, lower high, lower high, and lower low, and suddenly there were no lower lows, but still lower highs, and squeezed and popped out, but it didn't pop. It just went sideways, like you said. So yes, 44, 45 is the area to see if it can break it. I don't see any reason why it should do that. It is you need a neck brace to trade this stock, really, and I'm not doing it because this is more gambling than investing. Because I need to see a better story than just a camera story. I've said that before. I've beat it to death. So fundamentally, I don't believe in the valuations and the company the way it is right now. People buying into it up to 100 was definitely nuts. But the potential was a different story. Have they come out with that? I don't track it. I just read the headlines about it. I didn't see any headlines about it. So if it doesn't break the 44, it is, and the market's correct in general, it's vulnerable. I don't have a specific reason to short it, but I also don't have any inclination of taking it long. So, but a break above 45, even 46, may refuel the exuberance in it. But you think, how much do they have in it?
Okay, Nic Chahine, he's a Marketfy Maven options expert. He joins us every Tuesday to discuss this week's options outlook. He's a Marketfy Maven and the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. I know One More Shot signed up from your product, and he's getting some good help from you, so we appreciate it, Nick. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.